Hi, in this video we'll review verb tenses. You can find this lesson in your coursebook Speak Out Intermediate Unit 1.2. We'll start our lesson with a reading text. Then we'll study the present simple, the present continuous, the past simple, and the past continuous tense. Following this, we'll see what state verbs and dynamic verbs are. After doing some exercises, we'll finish with suggestions for further study and practice. Now please pause the video and read this text, and then find at least one verb form in the following tenses: the present simple, the present continuous, the past simple, and the past continuous. The first one is underlined as an example for you. Told is a verb in the past simple. Now it's your turn. Have you found one example for each? Now look at the text again with the verbs underlined. The red words show you the verbs in the past simple. The green words are the ones in the past continuous. The present simple verbs are in purple, and the only present continuous verb is in blue. Okay, let's begin with the present simple. Look at the timeline. Do you see something that happens once or more than once? The answer is more than once. We generally use the present simple to talk about regular activities, activities that happen again and again. So, how do we form present simple sentences? Basically, it's subject plus verb. But with he, she, and it, we add s to the verb. In the table, you will see an example sentence in the affirmative, negative, and question forms. Be careful. Doesn't becomes don't in negative sentences with the subjects I, you, we, and they. And in questions, does becomes do with the subjects I, you, we, and they. Let's look at when we use the present simple more closely. If something is always or generally true, we use the present simple. For example, smoking causes cancer. Secondly, with habits and routines, that means regular activities, we use the present simple. He reads a newspaper on long journeys. And finally, with the verb be and other state verbs, we use the present simple. She is not a musician, I am a musician. We will look at state verbs more closely later in this video. Now, the present continuous. Look at the timeline again. Is the action complete or in progress at the time of speaking? Yes, the action is in progress. It's not complete. What about the form of the present continuous? So it's subject plus am, are, or is plus verb ing. In the table, you'll see an example sentence in the present continuous in affirmative, negative, and question forms. Let's look at the meaning of present continuous more closely. We already said that we use the present continuous to talk about actions that are in progress at the time of speaking. That means they are not finished at the time of speaking. For example, where's Susan? She's studying in her room. We also use the present continuous for temporary situations or activities happening around now and lasting for only a limited period of time. For example, I'm staying at a hotel in London. Here, staying is a temporary activity happening around now, and it's lasting for only a period of time. Okay, now the past simple. Look at the timeline again. Is the action finished or not finished in the past? The answer is finished. Let's look at the form. It's very simple actually. It's just subject plus past verb. But remember, past verbs could be regular or irregular. In the table, you'll see an example sentence in the past simple in affirmative, negative, and question forms. Let's remember the meaning one more time. We use the past simple to talk about usually single finished actions, events, or situations in the past. Example sentences are: I met my wife 5 years ago. Columbus discovered America in 1492, and they were students at Harvard University. All these examples refer to finished actions, events, or situations at a specific time in the past. And lastly, the past continuous. If you look at the timeline, you'll see that we use the past continuous to talk about actions that were in progress at a certain moment in the past. What about the form of the past continuous? With the subjects I, he, she, and it, we use was plus verb ing. And with the subjects you, we, and they, we use were and then verb ing. Again, in the table, you will see an example sentence in the past continuous in affirmative, negative, and question forms. Let's remember the meaning again. When we talk about an action or a situation that is not completed at a particular time in the past, we use the past continuous. For example, they were looking for the library when I saw them. The action look was not completed. It was in progress at that time in the past. And finally, we'll look at state verbs and dynamic verbs. State verbs usually describe a state or situation. Dynamic verbs, in contrast, describe actions or things that happen. Remember, state verbs are not usually used in the continuous form. Here are some common state verbs. Usually there are 4 categories of state verbs: attitude, thinking, sense, and belonging. Be careful. Some state verbs can be used in the continuous form when they describe actions, not states. For example, she's seeing her friends tonight. Here, the verb see is not a state verb because it means meet. It's an action. Or they're having dinner now. Again, have does not describe a state, it describes an action, the action of eating. And finally, my sister is thinking of changing her job. Here, the verb think describes the act of considering something. You can see more examples of those state verbs that can be used in the continuous form in your supplementary packs, page 21. Okay, time for practice now. Now look at the sentences and underline the correct alternative in each sentence. Please pause the video and do the questions. Here are the answers. Second practice. Now look at the sentences again and complete them with the correct form of the verbs in brackets. Please pause the video and do the exercise. Here are the answers. If you want to do some further study, you can go to your supplementary pack B level, pages 22 and 23, or my English Lab Speak Out Intermediate Unit 1.2. You will also find some extra exercises on Edmodo. And finally, if you want to write or speak about this subject, you can do the following task. Think about a funny, embarrassing, or scary experience you had, or maybe another story that you read or heard. Take some notes. Write a short paragraph or talk about it for 1 or 2 minutes using your notes. Please remember to use the tenses that we studied. That's all for now. Bye.